You are on the verge of a discovery that, if deeply understood, could forever change your perception of your body, your energy, and even time. This is not just another theory or empty promise. It is a call to action. Because when Carl Jung spoke of life energy, he was not referring only to libido or impulse. He spoke of an invisible force that animates all things. About the spark that lives deep within each person and, when forgotten, dims the sparkle in the eyes, drains the energy of the soul, and hastens death long before the body takes its last breath. But what if youth is not a stage? What if life force is not a privilege of biological youth, but an energetic state that can be accessed, developed, and expanded at any stage of life? Today, right now, you may carry within you the answer that many seek outside. The real fountain of youth is restorative, vibrant. Not in creams, surgeries, vitamins, or synthetic hormones. It is in how you handle your energy, what you feel, what you silence, what you hold onto, what you unconsciously let slip, and what you decide to transform. Carl Jung said that what you do not realize manifests in your life as destiny. And it is this unconscious, neglected, wasted energy, often hidden behind constant fatigue, dull skin, unexplained irritability, loss of attractiveness, and lack of desires, that holds the key to your deepest life force. What if you knew that inside your body there is a source of energy so powerful that, when properly activated and directed, it can regenerate your cells, clear your mind, balance your emotions, and expand your consciousness? This is not fantasy, it is alchemy, a forgotten science, an ancient tradition mocked by modernity but quietly beginning to resurface. From ancient times, Daoist masters, Egyptian alchemists, Indian yogis, and even Jungian therapists knew what the modern world chose to ignore. Sexual energy, the most concentrated core of a person's life force, is not just for pleasure or reproduction. It is a sacred fire that, if wasted, burns you from within. But if transformed, it can become light, vitality, and clarity. The Daoists called it Jing, the primordial essence. According to them, this energy is born in the kidneys, silently circulates in the lower abdomen, and when not dissipated, rises up the spine, nourishes the organs, brain, heart, and turns flesh into a living temple. But what do we do with this energy today? In an era of haste, pornography, overstimulation, and addiction to superficial pleasure, the essence burns, and life force is depleted. And what remains? Exhausted bodies, scattered minds, dull eyes, stunned hearts. And therein lies the tragedy. While you believe you are aging only because of time, you may unknowingly be losing your life force. Drop by drop, impulse by impulse. Not because you are living, but because of how you consume and are consumed. But what if you could reverse this flow? What if, instead of depleting, you could learn to preserve, enhance, and recycle this energy, as the ancient masters did? What if you discovered that what today seems like weakness is actually the raw material for your strength? Carl Jung understood this when he studied Eastern traditions and saw in them a symbolic mirror of the human psyche. For him, the unconscious was a reservoir of unintegrated energy, and sexual energy, this creative impulse, was both the engine of desire and the gateway to individuation. But Jung went further. He understood that there are moments when life pushes us to fatigue, to collapse, to emptiness. Not to destroy us, but to make us return within ourselves, to find the source. The question is, will you continue to seek life force on the same paths that only exhaust you? Or will you allow yourself to discover that within you there is a quiet, pulsating, and living source waiting to be awakened? If you have ever felt too tired for your age, if you have noticed that your energy drops without reason, that your mind is in a constant fog, that desires disappear without explanation, perhaps this is a sign, not an end, but the beginning of a new relationship with your body, with your breath, with your essence, with your forgotten strength. This part of the video is not about techniques, it is about truth. It is about looking within and understanding that what you have always sought outside has always been waiting for you in the silence, because deep down, the eternal youth that Jung spoke of was not physical, but energetic. It was the result of integrating opposing forces, impulse and control, pleasure and consciousness, fire and water, sex and spirit. When these opposites dance together within you, something new is born. A state of vibrant presence, natural life force, inexplicable magnetism. People who carry this energy can be recognized from afar. They do not shout, they do not strain, they simply are. And where they appear, something changes. The atmosphere becomes warmer, the gaze becomes firmer, time seems to slow down. You know someone like this. Have you ever been like this? Perhaps you are ready to be like this again. Not out of vanity, but out of wholeness, out of love for life that pulses within you and wants to expand. Then listen. The fountain of youth is not a place, it is a state. And the entrance to it begins with how you breathe, how you feel, how you handle your life energy. The question you must ask yourself now is, are you ready to stop wasting your essence? In the next part, we will delve into this universe. We will go to the mountains of ancient China and discover what the Daoist masters observed in nature and what helps us understand why some bodies shine from within while others fade too soon. But first, breathe, focus on the lower abdomen, feel, because the path to youth does not begin in the future, it begins now, at the moment you decide to awaken. Imagine for a moment that your body is a mirror of nature. Not the city, but the mountains, the forests, the slowly flowing river. Carl Jung believed that the unconscious is not only a repository of memories, traumas, and instincts, but also a symbolic territory where the wisdom of life resides. The ancient Daoist masters knew this long before psychology. They did not read books or interpret statistics. They observed with the patience of millennia, with a silence capable of hearing what the modern world no longer hears. They looked at trees that lived for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years, and asked themselves, why do some bloom year after year with new strength, while others die quickly, even under the same sun, under the same rain? Why do some animals retain their vitality until their last days, while others fade prematurely? The answer was not in chance. It was in the energy that moves within and how it is preserved. According to the Daoist worldview, every living being carries within it a sacred substance called Jing, the life essence. It is born in the kidneys, circulates through the body, and is expressed primarily through sexual energy. But this essence is finite, and the more unconscious life is, the faster it dissipates. Think now about your daily life. How many times in recent years have you felt tired for no reason? How many times has your body felt heavier than it should be? Or your mind slower, your mood more unstable, your libido more absent? And what if this is not just stress? What if this is not just age? What if this is a sign that your life essence is gradually, imperceptibly slipping away? Master Sun Simiao, one of the greatest physicians of ancient China, said that the wise man preserves his essence as a dragon preserves its pearl. He was not speaking in empty metaphors, he meant a way of life, a way of existing in the world with respect for one's own energy. But in the world of 2025, this respect has been replaced by urgency for clicks, for instant dopamine. We live in exhaustion, even when we are sitting. Overloaded even when we are alone, disconnected from ourselves even with 1,000 ways to distract ourselves. Technology connects us to everything except our own source. Jung would say that we project too much, throw out what we should cultivate within. And that is why so many people between the ages of 30 and 65 feel that they have lost their vitality. Not because time has passed, but because the soul has been lost in the noise. Have you ever wondered when was the last time you felt whole? Whole in body, mind, and heart. When was the last time you felt that your energy was pure, vibrant, alive? Perhaps it was a decade ago, perhaps in a moment so simple that you did not even notice it was sacred. There was a man named Luis, 58 years old. He was an engineer, hardworking, skeptical. After retiring, he began to get sick. Nothing serious, the test said. But he knew something was wrong. He woke up tired. He had insomnia. He felt a strange pain in his chest. He lost interest in almost everything. He began to think he was aging, that it was just the way it was. But one day, reading about traditional Chinese medicine, he came across the word Jing. Intrigued, he began to search for more information. He learned about the cycles of life energy, and almost by chance, he came across a video like this one. That was when his journey began. Not with magical formulas or promises, but with a simple decision to breathe deeper, observe his energy, be silent, and for the first time in decades, listen to his body like an old friend. Luis realized that his life force was not lost. It was buried under years of haste, tension, and emotional suppression. And gradually, with simple practices, he began to regain what even medicine could not give him: presence, will, life. This is the secret that the ancients knew and that Jung intuitively understood. Longevity does not come from the outside. It is born from within, when you stop violating yourself with habits that drain your energy and begin to respect your inner rhythm. But this requires a decision, a step out of automatism, a deep look at your life and asking, what in me is dying because I have stopped listening to myself? Because when you listen to yourself, something awakens. It is not a miracle, it is a return. A return to the source that has always been there. The Daoist masters called this Nidan, inner alchemy, a quiet, intimate, deep process where sexual energy, this raw and creative impulse, is purified like liquid gold and directed to the brain, heart, spirit, and the once weary body begins to restore itself. The mind, once clouded, clears. The emotions, once locked, flow, the gaze shines again, and everything gradually begins to pulse again. Perhaps now you cannot understand everything rationally, but your body understands, your soul recognizes, because this is not new, it is ancient. And perhaps that is why you are here. Not by chance, but because something in you already knows, already feels, is already ready. And if you feel that it is time to regain your energy, clarity, and calm, know that there is a path to this and that it can begin very simply. In the ebook, The Jung Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity, you will find practices based on the same principle, reuniting you with your source, with your breath, with your quiet truth. This is an invitation to reconnect with what has never left you, but has only fallen asleep. If you want to begin this journey back to yourself, the download link is in the pinned comment of this video. Breathe. And remember, it is not always about more effort. Sometimes it is just about feeling again. Something strange happens when you begin to observe your body carefully, not with the clinical gaze of modern medicine, but with the quiet listening of someone who understands that the body is not a machine, but a temple. Have you ever noticed how your body responds when you are in deep silence? How it pulses differently. How goosebumps run down your spine or subtle waves without apparent cause. This is not imagination, it is energy. More precisely, it is life energy circulating where there was once only tension or numbness. Carl Jung said that when we reunite with the unconscious, we touch forces that were previously dormant, and that this can be deeply transforming or deeply frightening. It depends on our maturity in sustaining what arises. And perhaps that is why most people never awaken this power, because it takes courage. The courage to feel, the courage to slow down, the courage to look at what lives in the center of the chest when everything else falls silent. But what if you discover that the cause of your chronic fatigue, constant irritability, insomnia, is not in what you lack, but in what overflows you without direction? According to the Daoist masters, sexual energy or Jing is the most concentrated form of the body's life force. It is produced with great internal effort. And when it is released unconsciously, the body must work hard to replenish what has been lost. Want a direct example? The body uses minerals, vitamins, hormones, and neurotransmitters to create sexual fluids. That is, every time you unconsciously release this energy, you are literally depleting your life force reserve. It is like discharging a battery that has not been charged. Gradually, the body takes its toll. The price manifests as fatigue, mental confusion, unexplained depression. Has this happened to you? Share here. What are the most unusual symptoms you experience that medicine has never been able to properly explain? Perhaps this video will help you connect the dots. Now imagine your spine as a vertical river. Through this channel, according to Eastern traditions, energy rises when it is properly activated and directed. And if it rises, it nourishes the brain, organs, and immune system. But if it is constantly depleted by overstimulation, anxiety, compulsive actions, the river dries up. And when the river dries up, the body suffers, the spirit sleeps. And here comes into play what almost no one has told you. How you breathe, feel, and even masturbate shapes the quality of your energy field. Strange to say this out loud, isn't it? But it is necessary, because as long as we do not shed light on the places where society has taught us to be ashamed, we will remain prisoners of what we do not understand. Did you know that the Daoists taught that sexual energy can be activated without reaching climax? They spoke of practices such as testicular breathing, perineum muscle contraction, and the microcosmic orbit. An inner path that directs energy from the perineum to the head and then to the more subtle centers of the body. But why is this important? Because when you redirect your energy, you not only prevent its loss but also nourish the system. Imagine the following picture: a lit candle. If you let the wind blow on it, it will go out. But if you protect it, direct the heat, it can light other candles. It can illuminate the entire room. Your energy works the same way. And that is why so many people feel extinguished, because there is too much wind and too little care, too much stimulation and too little awareness. Now think with me. If the body is always trying to balance energy, what does it do when you are completely out of balance? It screams with pain, fatigue, confusion, illnesses that come as last attempts to say, "Come back inside." But how to return? Jung said that integration begins with recognition. What you look at can be transformed. What you deny consumes you. And here is a subtle point. Many people begin to retain sexual energy and feel even worse, anxious, tense, irritable. Why? Because they confuse retention with suppression. But suppressing is not the same as transforming. Holding is not the same as circulating. Life energy needs movement. If it does not flow, it rots. If it accumulates without direction, it becomes stagnant. That is why the Daoists were clear. Practice must be daily, even if only for 5 minutes. Deep breathing, visualization, inner movement, awareness. Have you ever tried closing your eyes for 2 minutes and just feeling your lower abdomen? Did you do it intentionally, focused, with curiosity? Try it now after the video ends, and then share in the comments what you felt. Perhaps you will discover that there is warmth, a forgotten vibration, a river that wants to flow. And flowing does not mean exploding. Flowing means rising. Rising quietly, easily, wisely. This is the process that the masters called inner alchemy. And no, it is not esoteric. It is deep neurophysiology that science is only now beginning to study, but that the body has always known. The pineal gland awakens, the endocrine system reorganizes, the mind becomes clear, the nervous system relaxes. All this with the energy that is already within you, it just waits for the right direction. But how to create this direction? How to turn the fire of desire into the light of consciousness? With practice, love, respect for your own rhythm? And here is the question that can change your life. Do you feel that you respect your rhythm or live trying to keep up with a world that respects no one? Leave your comment here. Perhaps your answer will help someone. Perhaps you will inspire another person to also return home, to themselves. The secret of life energy is not a secret. It is silence. Inner silence, presence, and choice. Small choices. Breathe slower. Observe your impulses without acting automatically. Take care of your spine as a sacred channel. Close your eyes before sleeping and thank your body for everything it supports, even when you forget about it. Carl Jung believed that true transformation does not come from the outside. It comes when the ego meets the soul, when impulse meets spirit, when desire meets meaning. And perhaps now, at this very moment, you are touching this for the first time in a long time. Do not run away, do not rationalize, just breathe and feel. The energy is here, alive, hidden, waiting for you. Most people have no idea what they are losing. Literally, every day, millions of men and women gradually deplete the most valuable reservoir they have and do not even notice it. And what is most curious is that they do it believing they are simply following their desires, their nature, their routine. But what if I tell you that this routine is aging you from within? That even in the absence of visible diseases, your body may be quietly asking for help? There is a little-known study conducted at Peking University in which scientists observed the hormonal and immune status of a group of men aged 30 to 60 who practiced retaining and recirculating sexual energy using techniques borrowed from Taoism. The result, an average increase in free testosterone levels by 47%. But more importantly, a significant reduction in inflammation markers, an increase in natural melatonin levels, improved sleep, and an almost incredible fact: mitochondrial regeneration was faster compared to the control group. Mitochondria are the power stations of cells. If they are strengthened, everything in your body improves. But if they wear out, you feel collapse, fatigue, loss of strength, premature aging, a clouded mind, a weakened immune system. And we are not talking about a miracle pill. We are talking about a decision, a lifestyle, a return to energy awareness. But what does this have to do with you, who are watching this video in 2025, perhaps already over 40, and feel that something in your energy is no longer what it used to be? Everything. Because when you start to look at your energy as life capital, as a reserve that can be squandered or invested, everything changes. You stop being a hostage to fatigue and become the guardian of your inner strength. Imagine the following scene. A man named Andrew, 44 years old, father of 2 children, project manager. He begins to notice that, despite having no illnesses, he always feels tired. He has concentration problems. He has lost interest in his wife. And, worse, he has lost interest in himself. He feels lifeless, indifferent, as if on autopilot. In an attempt to regain purpose, Andrew began to practice meditation and read about Daoist practices. He decided to try without great expectations. He just sat for a few minutes in the morning and evening, focusing on abdominal breathing, on the warmth he felt at the base of his spine. He began to observe the flow of his desires without acting on impulses. And something changed, not immediately. But after 2 weeks, he noticed that he paid more attention to his children, that he enjoyed small gestures, that his mind cleared, and something in him became more alive. This something has a name: chi, life energy that begins to circulate when you stop wasting it and learn to direct it. But it is not just about retaining. Here begins the real alchemy: transmutation. The ancient Daoist masters knew that retention without recirculation is like damming water without directing it. You accumulate, but do not nourish. And when accumulation stagnates, collapse, anxiety, tension, irritability, insomnia occur. That is why Daoist practices always included 3 main stages: activation, recirculation, storage. It all starts with the activation of sexual energy, but not as the modern world understands it. It is not about pornographic excitement. It is about feeling the subtle warmth that accumulates in the lower abdomen, the dantian. This is the energy center that, according to Chinese medicine, stores life force. Activation can be achieved through deep breaths, light touches, focusing attention on this place. It is an invitation to presence. Then comes recirculation. Here, the PC muscle is engaged, the same one you contract to stop urination. This contraction, combined with breathing and visualization, pushes the energy up the spine to the crown of the head. This is called the microcosmic cycle. And finally, storage. After transmutation, the energy is redistributed among the 3 treasures: the lower abdomen for physical vitality, the heart for emotional balance, the head for mental and spiritual clarity. This practice, repeated constantly, gives such deep results that they are difficult to describe precisely. But perhaps you have already intuitively felt this. You know that moment when you were so focused, so full, that it seems as if time slows down, as if your body vibrates effortlessly, as if your mind quiets, losing all weight. This is chi circulating. This is you, whole. But the modern world does not favor this process. We are subjected to constant stimuli. We live with an excited body and a depleted soul. And that is why so many people live in a state of constant semi-exhaustion. Have you ever felt this way? If you want, share in the comments. Perhaps your story will help someone else understand that they are not alone. And if you think this is the realm of monks or mystics, think again. In ancient China, there were warriors who practiced this before battles. In Japan, samurai cultivated hara, the energy center in the abdomen, as a source of courage and balance. And even in the West, alchemists spoke of transmuting sexual energy into spiritual light. Salvi T. Coagula from the Hermetic tradition. What does all this mean? That you are an energetic being before being a rational being. And that your biography, your memories, your traumas, your desires are imprinted in the body and more specifically in how your energy flows. Carl Jung said that as long as you do not realize this, the unconscious will govern your life, and you will call it fate. This is not just philosophy, it is your health, your peace, your inner youth. Have you noticed how some people age with excess weight, while others, even with wrinkles, look radiant? It is not just genetics, it is energy. When your energy circulates, the body shines, the skin is full of life, the gaze becomes firm, the breath deepens, and time loses its power to consume you. But this requires intention. It requires choosing to feel, choosing to stop, choosing to breathe where before you reacted. Perhaps you are listening to all this and feeling a quiet call, a desire to try, to see if it is true. Do it today. Sit for a few minutes, place your hands on your lower abdomen, breathe. Feel the warmth, gently squeeze the perineum. Imagine the energy rising up the spine. Do not expect miracles, expect presence. And when it comes, you will know. Because true youth does not depend on what you do. It depends on how you exist, present, whole, harmonious. And when this energy begins to flow again, you will remember who you have always been. Before fatigue, before distractions, before oblivion. You will remember that within you lives what the world can never give or take away. Your life essence. Throughout our journey to this point, we have slowly opened a door that has been closed for a long time, not because of a lack of a key, but because of an excess of distractions. We speak of life energy, forgotten alchemy, the body as a temple, youth as a vibrational state, not chronological. And you, who have come this far, have already understood that all this is not poetic metaphor, it is real, it is visceral, and it is accessible to those who decide to live with presence. But perhaps one question remains. If all this is true, why do so few people live this way? The answer is as simple as it is painful, because it requires silence. And silence frightens, because in it we hear what we have avoided for years. The truth about our own negligence. Carl Jung said that what we deny in ourselves turns against us. And if you stop to think about the last weeks, months, or years of your life, perhaps you have noticed repeating patterns. Chronic fatigue, unexplained gloom, lack of desires, anxiety, sleep problems, the feeling of being alive on the outside but dead on the inside. You are not alone. Many experience the same, but few have the courage to get to the root of the problem, to stop treating symptoms and start treating the cause. Let us clarify everything now so that there are no doubts. Your body has a center of life force. It is located in the lower abdomen, which in the Daoist tradition is called the dantian. It is there that the awakening of sexual energy begins. Not as excitement, but as a subtle warmth, a quiet vibration, an inner fire. This center is like an alchemical furnace. And you, the alchemist. Everything we say about activating, recirculating, and storing this energy is not theory, it is practice, it is deep physiology, and it is also consciousness. When you learn to breathe through this center, gently contract the perineum, direct your attention to the spine, and visualize the flow of energy rising, you are literally training your body to reverse wear, restore shine, revive your life force. And it is not about a mystical experience detached from practical life. It is about greater mental clarity, greater attunement in daily life, a more stable mood, more alive relationships, a more present body. But beware, on this path there is a common mistake, and perhaps you are already falling into it without realizing it. The mistake of accumulating without circulating, retaining energy without moving it. Practicing out of obligation, not devotion. Sexual energy, when suppressed, becomes tension. When ignored, it becomes compulsion. But when respected, cultivated, and directed, it becomes strength, creative power, emotional clarity. Have you noticed how the world has taught us to act on impulses, to release energy to relieve tension, not to strengthen our presence? How many times have you sought instant pleasure to escape inner emptiness? Now stop and feel. And what if the answer to this emptiness were the exact opposite? Not discharge, but integration. Not escape, but immersion, not consumption, but cultivation. This is the true alchemy. Turning what was once impulse into consciousness. Turning desire into direction. Turning fatigue into a channel of return. But this requires sensitivity, requires vigilance, requires compassion for your own rhythm. Jung said that every process of individuation goes through three great trials: meeting the shadow, going through chaos, and integrating the light. Listening to this content, you are going through this very path. You are facing what you have stopped feeling. You are reviewing how you have treated your body. You are choosing to leave autopilot mode and return to listening. And it is here that everything begins to change. When you decide to slow down, breathe deeper, observe your impulses without acting automatically, nourish your body with your presence, consciously meditate on the lower abdomen, treat your sexual energy not as a burden but as a divine heritage. This changes your physiology, but above all, it changes your identity. You stop being someone who lives by reacting and become someone who cultivates, who overflows, who calms down and resonates, who reunites with the most sacred, the life pulsating within. And if you feel ready to take this step with maturity, here is an invitation. From everything you have learned so far, choose what to apply. Choose to try. Choose to live as the guardian of your own energy. In the next video, we will reveal a detailed and strategic plan to implement these practices in your daily life. You will clearly understand how to cultivate your life energy with 5 daily movements. Simple, concrete, transformative. Because knowledge that does not turn into action is lost, and a body without life fades. Be ready, because now everything will begin to take real shape within you. Everything you have heard so far is not just knowledge, it is a call. A call to return, to stop running from yourself, to relearn how to care for what is invisible to the eyes but shapes absolutely everything: your energy, your presence, your time, your essence, because there is something no one has taught you, but that you have perhaps always felt. True youth is not in the face, it is in the vibration you emit, in the clarity that guides you, in the peace that your body radiates, even when the world is at war. And if you have come this far, it means that something within you is ready. Ready for action. Ready to turn knowledge into experience. Reflection into practice. Silence into strength. But before moving on to practice, close your eyes for a moment. Breathe deeply. Feel your body. Feel the weight of your tensions. Feel where you lose energy and where it wants to be reborn. This is the starting point of consciousness, because without it, any technique becomes automatism, but with it, even the simplest gesture becomes alchemy. So, how to turn all this into real life? How to actually apply this knowledge to awaken your life energy, restore your emotional field, and regain mental clarity? Next, I will share with you a 5-step plan. Not as a rule, but as a path. A practical path to start anew. With ease, with respect for your time, but also with commitment. Wake up with awareness, 5 minutes in the morning. Upon waking, before grabbing your phone, before talking to anyone, sit on the bed or on the floor, straighten your spine, place your hands on your lower abdomen, and breathe slowly and deeply for 5 minutes. Feel the air entering through your nose, descending into your abdomen, and expanding the dantian area. On the exhale, release all the weight of your body. This simple practice activates your energy center, oxygenates your organs, and begins to train your mind for presence at the very beginning of the day. Make it a ritual, like brushing your teeth. Because how you start the day determines the energy with which you will live it until the end. Observe impulses without acting during the day. Throughout the day, begin to observe your automatic impulses, the desire to distract yourself, to obtain quick pleasure, to react emotionally to everything. Do not judge yourself, just observe. When you feel tension, gently squeeze your perineum for 3 seconds and relax. This simple action begins to redirect your inner energy and train your nervous system for conscious restraint. You do not need to be perfect. Just be attentive. Over time, this observation will change your habits. Turn reactivity into breathing in moments of tension. Whenever you feel anger, anxiety, or extreme fatigue, stop literally. Close your eyes, place your hands on your abdomen, and take 9 slow breaths. Visualize the energy of the emotion descending into your abdomen. Do not suppress it. Redirect it. Emotions are energy in motion. If you learn to welcome them without identifying with them, they transform, and you become the master of your emotional field. Practice nighttime recirculation before sleep. Lying down, breathe deeply, elongating your spine. Gently squeeze your perineum. Imagine the energy rising up your spine to the crown of your head. On the exhale, feel this energy descending down the front of your body back into your abdomen. Repeat from 9 to 36 times. This practice helps redistribute your life energy and prepare your body for restorative sleep. Your sleep will change, your clarity will increase, your body will align with what you want to create in your life. Cultivate silence as nourishment, once a day. Set aside 10 minutes each day for complete silence. No external stimuli, no music, no mobile phone. Just you, your breath, and your body. In this time, feel, thank, acknowledge what still hurts and what is already healing. Over time, this moment will become your strongest foundation, because in silence, true strength is born. The strength to be whole. And if you feel that this path touches you but do not yet know where to start, or feel that you need daily, simple, and effective support to constantly cultivate your energy, then I invite you. Deepening your knowledge with the ebook, The Jung Method, 5 minutes a day for inner peace and mental clarity. It brings together practices inspired by Jungian psychology and the principles we explore here, organized in an accessible way so you can apply them daily, even with a busy schedule. It is just 5 minutes a day, but 5 minutes capable of reconnecting you with the purest, strongest, and truest within you. The download link is in the pinned comment of this video. If this makes sense to you, if something in your heart has been touched during this journey, then I invite you. Like this video, subscribe to the Planetid Reflex Sound channel, and share in the comments anonymously, if you wish, your questions, feelings, or discoveries that you have had in this experience. Your experience can touch other lives. And together we can sustain this circle of transformations. Because true youth is something to be shared. It flourishes in those who are open, and it multiplies when it becomes a collective path. I wish you lightness, wholeness, and energy in fullness.